Okay, so here's the next question from the blind 75 sheet. Okay, that is reverse linked list. Okay, so you can see the question is so straightforward, so I don't basically think that this question needs the explanation. Okay, so simply we have given an singly linked list. Okay, and we have just reversed the list and return the reverse list. Okay, so simply this is the question, and we have given an head of the single list. So here I have written the input, and I have just taken this picture from the read code. Okay, so just we don't have to basically waste the time on the explanation. It's just so straightforward. Let's just go on the approach. Okay, so I have taken this linked list. So how basically we will reverse it? So the our main goal is basically we have to just reverse these pointers. Okay, reverse this pointer. You have to just reverse this. Okay, linked. So these linked would be reversed. So if I just say that, what we have to do is basically we have to just reverse these pointers. Okay, so that is the thing. Okay, so just we have to reverse these pointer, basically not pointers, nodes, you can say. Okay, so how we can do? So basically we have to just take the pointers to do. So simply we can say we will take 3 pointers. That is first previous, that will simply be initialized with null. Okay, and then the second, that is we can say current. I will tell what these basically, it will simply represent to head. Okay, and then the third pointer, that will simply next node. So every time it will then basically this next node would be in the loop. So I will tell how this will work. Okay, so what we'll do first, we will simply, the current would be here. Let's just write the current. Okay, so the current would be here. Let's just uh, remove these arrow. Okay, so I will just run this. Okay, the current would be here. Okay, so what we'll do basically, first we will break the first this. Okay, we will first break this, because we have to just, this will be at the last. Okay, so this would be simply pointing to the null. So simply what we'll do, we will break this bond, or basically you can say break this link, and we will point this current value to the basically null, or we can say we have taken this previous is null basically. Okay, for this previous would be null. So simply we will just point or you can say we will just remove this arrow. Okay, and we will simply point it to the null. Okay, so let's just point it to the null. So we can just try, or simply say previous. Okay, okay, so this is the thing. Okay, we will simply point it to the null, or we can simply say previous. Okay, previous is here null. Okay, so okay, so we have just broken that. But if we broke this, then simply this whole, or you can say this will be, you know that the, if in linked list we have to just basically take the pointers to store the links. Okay, so if we only using these two, then simply this will be, okay, this will be lost in memory. So we have to just take a next node pointers. So next node would be simply here. So before pointing it to null, we will simply point the value to the basically next node's value to the current's next. Okay, so the current's next was 2, so simply next node will point here. So say simply our list would not be basically lost in the memory. So next what we'll do, we'll same again. So basically this time, for next time what we'll do, we will point this previous. Okay, so this time we will update the previous to this, because initially it was null, so previous would be this time this. Okay, for next. Okay, and the current would be here, and the next node would be here. So simply it will move. Okay, then again what will do, it will break this bond. Okay, it will break this one, and this point will will start point to this. Okay, so let's just break it. Okay, and it will simply point to this. Okay, okay, so it will then again, then after this the current. Okay, the next the previous would be point here, okay, and the current would point here, and the next node would point here. So basically we are using 3 pointers because catch all these, okay. So not basically, if we will use only 2, it would simply the linked list would be lost in the memory. So again, what we'll do, we will simply break this, okay, this, and simply we will change this link to this to 2, okay. So simply what we'll do, we'll change this to here, and basically we can remove the here, okay. So again we will update the previous to the current, okay. So the current value, and the current would be the next node, and the next node would be the current's next, okay. So this will update it. So this time again this bond will break, and the next new bond will be here. So we can simply draw here the arrow, okay. So simply it will become here, and then again it will happen. So it will simply move this previous to current, okay, and the current would move to the this at the this basically at 5, and the next node would be simply at the null point, okay. So it will simply then again attach this to here. So simply 5 will start pointing to here because it was pointing to null, okay. So it will simply pointing to here, and when the next iteration, what will happen, previous will become current, and the current will become, you can say, null, okay. So simply current will become null, and it will simply become let me just take, okay. So the current will become simply null, and okay, let's just move this current, okay. So current will, previous would become current, and the current will simply become null, okay. So whenever the current becomes null, the loop will be exit, okay. Let's just write the pseudocode while current, okay, while the current is not null, the code will run. So what we'll do, we will simply create a node, that is next node, okay, next node, and it will simply points to the current next, okay, current next. So it will simply point to the current next, okay. Then after what we'll do, we'll point current next, okay, current next to the previous, okay. So we have done, okay. Then what we'll do, the current next becomes the previous, so the node is broken, and the next becomes to the previous, okay. So then what we'll do, basically next node is on the next value. So what we'll do, we will move previous to the current, okay, previous to the current, okay, and then previous will become current, and then what will do, current will move to next node. So that I have basically told in this, okay. So simply this will give the, okay, this will create the reverse linked list. And if you see that the previous would be the at the first index of the reverse linked list, simply at last we will return previous, okay. So that's the code. I will explain you the code in git lead code also, and I will provide you the code link, okay. So it was the code, okay. So here's the lead code. Let's just write the code with you, okay. So what we'll do, we will first take 2 variables, that is list node previous, okay, that will track the previous, okay. We will simply initialize with null, okay, and then we will simply take the next node, that is next node, basically next pointer, that will simply point to the head, okay, current, okay. So while current, okay, or you can say while current not equals to null, simply we will take this next node pointer, and this will simply points to the current next, okay. So we will simply what we'll do, we will first current next to the previous, okay, and then what we'll do, so the current next will simply points to the previous, so the previous will now becomes to the current, okay, and then we will simply move current to the next one, okay. So at last we have seen that the result would be simply previous, okay. So we could simply submit it if there is no any other mistake. So yeah, it's fine.